Oh my goodness, it's that time again. Welcome to the Long Run Podcast, episode 4. I think we're on that. I don't know. But once again, I'm your host, Adam, and joining me is someone that we have not seen in a while. It's Matt Lipnick. How you doing, buddy?
Hello, I haven't been on since episode 0.
Yes, this is true.
That's the thing.
What's been going on with your life, man?
Nothing.
Okay.
I've been going to school.
And once again, we are joined by none other than the professional himself, white guy with Netflix, Cinemark. Mark, how you doing today?
Pretty good. Pretty all right.
He has a website.
Tell the people about your website, Mark.
Right. Yeah. Each week I put up movie reviews. Sometimes old movies, sometimes new movies, sometimes Netflix series, but that's usually just for Marvel stuff. But yeah, if you want to check that out, it's whiteguywithnetflix.blogspot.com.
And we are actually joined by 3 new members of the podcast. These are buddies. Yes. We got a full house today. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people this time around. I'm actually really happy that we got these guys on, especially our next person who's very well known in the Tom's River community as, I would say, the person who should have been valedictorian in my grade. I'll say it right now. Sorry, Rachel Gordon.
Shots.
Sorry, Alyssa Colasordo. Anyway, it is none other than the esteemed Michael Pavlov. How are you doing today, man?
I'm doing wonderfully, Adam. Thank you for having me here. For those of you who don't know, this is my first time on this podcast, or I think any podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks again, and I'm not exactly sure why I'm here, but I've known these guys for 2, 4, 8, 12, 13 years.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the people who don't know you, Mike, and outside of my introduction, tell them a little bit about yourself.
All right.
You're a bouncer.
That's only one time.
They had to stop you.
Okay. I'll be I was the unsuccessful class dictator candidate back in 2010.
I remember this very well.
I've honed those dictatorship skills into a congressional internship.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
And I've never seen any of the movies we'll be talking about going into this, so
He brings a very fresh perspective.
I'd say.
Yes, and sitting next to him is none other than Josh Ponte, who is playing with an Etch-a-Sketch right now. How are you doing today, man?
This Etch-a-Sketch isn't working.
Get a shake.
I have been.
Josh, outside of the Etch-a-Sketch, man, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
I like Etch-a-Sketches.
When they work.
Yeah, when they work.
Even when they don't.
And next to him is none other than the king himself, someone that we've all known for a very long time, who's actually I've been trying to get onto the podcast, but he doesn't really watch movies as much as we do. It is Nero Desai. How are you doing today, man?
Good, Adam. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. And the cool thing about Nero is that he didn't even watch X-Men Apocalypse, which we're going to be talking about today. He watched the first 30 minutes and the last 30 minutes, because in between, he watched Neighbors.
X-Men Apocalypse.
Wait. I think it was that.
How was Neighbors?
It was pretty good.
That's our review of Neighbors. Thank you for tuning in to the podcast. We'll catch you next time.
Wrong guy on Netflix.
All right. So we're going to be talking about X-Men Apocalypse on this podcast. Spoiler discussion review.
No intro for us here?
Okay, Clemson said not to intro, and you said that you just chime in.
Intro Clemson.
No. Intro, Jesus.
No one likes Clemson.
You're now in it, so.
Yo, Clemson here.
Do you want to talk about this too?
Fucking
I just want to talk about how
chicken
it's
town
I give up.
master
You keep
is
That's all I need to know.
over here. And me, Jacob Kupferberg, high on Percocet.
He doesn't. He got his wisdom teeth taken out. He just doesn't take this. He's not a friggin'.
He had a dental appointment today.
Even if you do look
But
at
that doesn't just mean he knows how to party.
But X-Men Apocalypse.
Hold on, let me just check something real quick. Okay.
Talk to me later.
All right, so anyway, we're going to be talking about X-Men Apocalypse. And you know... So Matt, you know, in the first, X-Men, a long and storied franchise in not only Marvel Comics, but also in films.
Yes.
First two were pretty good. Third one, not so much. Fourth one, not so much. They brought it back with X-Men
What
First
was the
Class.
fourth one even?
X-Men Origins.
Fuck
Yeah.
that. That was awful.
We don't
I didn't
discuss
see it,
that
dude.
movie.
God damn, that was the worst.
But you know, X-Men First Class kind of revitalized the franchise. You know, it brought them back on the map. And then, for me, I don't know about you guys, but I think that Days of Future Past is probably the best X-Men film.
Oh yeah.
I think that one blew out my expectations personally, and I actually liked Wolverine even with its horrendous third act. I actually really liked
I
it.
really like the Wolverine is a guilty pleasure of mine. I hate that the final confrontation is just Hugh Jackman fights a robot
Yeah.
because everything else around that is awesome.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. But in this installment, you know, after the events of Days of Future Past, where Mystique saved the president, Magneto tried to kill some people, you know what I mean?
By dropping Shea
Yeah,
Stadium on them.
we go to the 80s now when it was in the 70s, and a whole bunch of characters are going through different things. Xavier's, you know, he's opening up the school. Beast is a teacher there. Mystique's on the run or whatever.
She's doing something.
Yeah, and then
she's picking up her paycheck and fulfilling her contractual obligation. To be there.
hey, listen, we'll get into that, okay?
We don't.
And then-
We're talking about Mystique, not Jennifer Lawrence.
And then we have Magneto, who's actually settled down, has a family, he's trying to be a normal man, you know. But Matt,
in
We good
Poland.
factory family.
but Matt, someone doesn't want that to happen.
No.
That someone who is probably, I would say, the second most famous X-Men villain outside of Magneto. Yeah.
Yeah, if you count like the League of Evil Mutants as
Yeah,
like
Brotherhood.
a singular body with
Yeah.
Magneto, then yeah, I'd say he's up there.
Yeah, and we have Apocalypse, who is actually never even called Apocalypse in the movie. He's addressed
Directly.
as
He's
yeah.
never called it.
He's
directly.
just
They
called
dance around it
Summoner.
a lot. They're like, oh, he's summoning the apocalypse. It's an apocalypse event. He's
Yeah.
apocalypse.
He's Apocalypse. Why can't
But
you?
as far as they're concerned, he's En Sabanur.
So that's the general gist of the story, and of course it's going to be a full spoiler discussion. But I will.
Spoilers.
I think
Why
that.
can't we spoil it?
No, I said this is
There
going to
won't
be a
be
full
spoilers.
spoiler
That
discussion.
was the one.
Yeah, I'm.
Let
right
me
off-
ask you a question.
Right off.
So,
yeah.
as a person who's not very familiar with the X-Men franchise,
I like this taking initiative. I appreciate it.
No
Thank
problem. As a person who's not very familiar with the X-Men franchise,
Yeah.
how would you say this movie ranks among the rest of them?
So no prior knowledge in comic.
I would say it's
It's-
fifth out of what? There's 8 films now.
There's X-Men 1, X2, X3,
X-Men
X-Men
Origins,
Origins.
First Class, Days of Future Past, Wolverine, and
First Class, DOFP, Wolverine,
And
if you count
Apocalypse.
Deadpool.
oh okay.
And then there's also this.
Yeah.
Deadpool's
So that's 9.
So it's 9.
I would put this one at 6.
I would put this one. I'm trying to figure out which one goes where now. I would say like. Yeah, actually, yeah, 6th.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6th. Better than Origins and X3.
That's not saying much.
Yeah, but that's
Not as good as everything else.
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
mediocre.
Where
at
in the
best.
timeline
Middling.
does this take place, though?
This takes place in the 80s.
In the-
It
This
takes
is
place after
1983.
Days of Future Past. Because you
I haven't
remember.
seen that movie.
Okay, that's probably why. You're
Okay.
probably confused. Because in Days of Future Past, they basically retconned the first 3 movies. Actually, no, the first 3 movies plus the 2 Wolverine movies.
Was
Which
it
I
the 2
have not
or
seen.
was
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it's
Oh, the Wolverine got wiped out? That
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
So all of the past movies get better.
Especially because that's the
No,
only one that
first
had
It's
the
like a
Wolverine
Steins Gate.
costume
Did we
in
just
it.
Steins Gate in here?
Yeah, First Class and Days of Future Past are basically part of a
The
trilogy
new.
for this. Yeah.
The new.
I don't mind losing the others, but losing the Wolverine sucks.
Yeah, but I think that for me, what perfectly describes this movie is meh. Just
Middling.
Meh. Whatever.
I can see this as the beginning of the summer blockbuster,
Yeah.
big action, little story here and there. Just look at the explosions.
There's a joke in this movie that I think is kind of incredible. Not because it's a good joke, but because it sums this movie up so perfectly. And because it's the 80s, the kids go out to the mall and they go to the movies and they see Return of the Jedi, which had come out because it was 1983.
Mhm.
And they come out and they're talking about the movie, and Jubilee, saying like one of her 2 lines in the movie, is talking about how Empire is so much better because it had all the cool character stuff and the big story beats. And then Jean Grey goes, oh, well, yeah, you know, the third one is always the worst. And it's played off like a joke, which, 1, is confusing because it means they're making fun of their own movie. 2, it's confusing because it means they knew that this movie was the weakest out of the 3. And 3, it's kind of amazing because you have the first of this trilogy, First Class, which was really good, had a few issues here and there, but was for the most part really good.
Mhm.
Days of Future Past, which was even better and had lots and lots of, you know, shit got dark and had themes and characters were developed. And now you have this one that has some good action. And,
guess.
well, more emphasis on action than the others. Lots of ass kicking, but not it does nothing with the characters that we've come to know and love so far.
Josh, what X-Men movies have you seen?
The one with Captain Picard.
That could be
That could be
okay,
like
so that,
5 of them
that could be
have
like
a Captain Picard in them.
like 6 or 7. What was he doing?
The first, he was in the wheelchair doing his.
Okay.
I like how you just called him Captain Picard. That's his real name.
I should let you know right now. His name is Professor Xavier in these films.
Okay.
So
That's all I
okay,
can think of,
so let me hand it
Agent
off
Harvey
to
Bullock.
to Pavliv and to Josh, since you guys aren't that big on X-Men, nor I don't think you guys are that big on comic movies as much as say me, Mark, and Matt are. So how did you guys feel about the film?
I thought it was alright. I mean, lightsaber BDSM chick had some nice plot and backstory. If you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Oh man, that part where they threw Psylocke into a giant pie and she fished all the hot dogs out with her mouth, that was crazy.
That was so good.
And then they cut back to the rest of Attack of the Show. It was awesome.
I miss Attack of the Show. Old memories.
Anyway,
Get it? Because it's Olivia Munn.
what did you think?
Oh shit, that was her?
Yes.
Alright, for the most part, what I have to say has already been said. However, I'd say that the X-Men movie came down to, or this X-Men movie came down to 2 X's of its own for me.
Okay.
Exposition, in the sense that it was a solid hour of bouncing around the world to seeing what these guys are up to in the 10 years of
Yeah, since the last movie.
since the last movie.
Yeah.
And I had 2 X's, but I lost the second X.
So it's just one X. Like the X.
So like the X-Men.
The second
No,
X being X-Men. There's lots of X-Men. A lot of them don't do anything, but they're still X-Men.
There was
Exposition and explosion in the kind of meh action sense, but it didn't really build up to anything truly great.
I agree. I completely agree.
It was like 90 minutes of. So this is what happened.
Let's start from the beginning.
Actually,
and
hold on.
then-
Actually, what I was gonna say is, let's not turn this into what happened with a lot of people with Batman v Superman. I don't just want to crap all over this movie. So why don't we talk about the good? Let's talk about the good.
Get the good out of it.
Let's get the good out of the
Let's
way.
get the good.
What do you think was good about it, man?
I liked Quicksilver.
Yeah, he
He's
was cool.
phenomenal. I mean, I didn't like his whole like, oh, Magneto's my father, I'll tell him, and then he's literally standing there and then he pusses out. I mean, like, I understand like this is a big moment, but it was like in Days of Future Past when you first met him, you had no problem talking to him, but now that you know he's your father, it was basically just like, I'm doing it for my family, and he was like, come on, man, like you're this close. You could die. Just at least tell him.
The character building parts that he was involved with were all kind of lame, but he had hands down some of the best action.
He had the best charisma out of everyone.
The part where he just starts punching the fuck out of Apocalypse.
Yeah,
that was great.
That was a great scene.
That was excellent.
I think that Quicksilver actually had one of the more interesting story arcs in the movie. But the thing is,
yes.
They didn't give it enough time.
But that's saying something because no one really had a story arc.
It was an
movie.
interesting concept, but
Yeah.
they brought it up like twice, and then it was just like, oh, is he going to tell him that he's his son? Oh, he's not going to do it. And then it's just like swept under the rug, and then they bring it up. It's like, oh, is he going to tell him? No, they just gonna no. Like it was embarrassed of doing it. Like they pursued it, it would have been the best part of the movie.
Right.
But
Oh, am I gonna tell him? Are you gonna tell him that's your father? Yeah, one day.
Because it's
like,
and a sequel.
It's an interesting story. Like you have this dad who's done such horrible things, but he's your dad, and he doesn't know it.
Yeah.
So like you kind of want to say it's almost like that whole adopted father thing, or you have a father figure that was never in your life, and then you find out
like
that they're out
Magneto,
there.
like even turned to him when he was like Mystique was giving her a big spiel and fucking just Jennifer Lawrence being Jennifer Lawrence, and then like he's like, "What are you doing it for?" And like I was like, "This is your time." Just to be like, "You are my father," and you walked out. Like that could have like been such a good emotional moment of like
Remember
having
how
this.
that happened in Star Wars though.
Magneto's hand falls off and he throws himself down a pit.
It would have been
And they
such
go,
like a
No.
because I can't. We're talking about the good. I'll save this for later when we're not talking about the
Yeah,
good.
yeah. What good did you see in it, Pablo?
What good did I see in it?
Yeah. What did you enjoy about the film?
Honestly, Nightcrawler.
I like
He was
Nightcrawler.
good. He was good.
He was good. I forget what's that actor's name? It was
Anyone else get the feeling he looked like Samit a little bit?
Man, wait, what? What?
he kind of just a little bit, just a teeny bit.
Every time I saw him, I just
Yeah, I mean, he had these markings on his face, maybe.
It was like the hair. It was the way his hair fell across.
I don't know. Every time I saw him, I was just like Samit.
just a little bit.
But like even he, like, there's no backstory. I was like, where did he come from?
Kind of there.
Nightcrawler was. I'm always annoyed because Nightcrawler is like my favorite X-Man because he's awesome. Like he's kind of like he's a bit of a moral center of the team, but he's also kind of mischievous and he's also kind of like a gross weirdo and people don't really like him. But he also has like swashbuckling adventures.
Yeah.
And in every one of these movies, he's always relegated to just like the kind of weird guy who teleports. Like, they don't give him a whole lot of time in this one or in X2. He's cool in both of them.
And his extent of his powers just like so like disorganized. Like, oh, I can go as far as I can see, or if I've been there, I'm like, that is a big difference in the ability to jump freaking
I liked,
distances.
well, I didn't like it. It kind of bugged me this whole movie how like Nightcrawler has a very useful power set because he can teleport. That's very, very useful, especially in this movie. They need to get places, they need to get out of places, they need to get to people and get people out of places. Take a shot every time there's some kind of like electrical field or barrier or something that messes with his powers and prevents him from just teleporting and solving the problem.
And like, yeah,
So like 4.
Yes. Do like 4 shots, maybe 5.
But it's just like, I understand that they're trying to develop these technologies to prevent these powers, but like there is such a wide array of powers, and I'm like, how do you have this just like trump card of like something that just disables all abilities when you don't know like all the abilities that someone could have?
I was half expecting that part when they're in the helicopter and they put up the thing, and it's like, oh, okay, Nightcrawler, try and bamf us out of here.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I can't do it. And they're like, okay, Jean, telepilot to land. And she's like, oh, I can't do it. I half expected Cyclops to just whip his glasses off and be like, fuck it, let's try it.
What I didn't understand is how they didn't see them then, because apparently if she can't use her powers, and it's just like...
That's true, too.
Well,
it
it's
doesn't make any sense.
true.
Oh, is this going to be one of those movies?
What?
They didn't really look back in the plane, did they?
No.
They never looked
I
in the back
guess.
seat the entire time.
Making sure they didn't wake up or
Is this going to be one of those movies? Is this going to be one of those movies like Prometheus and Batman v Superman, where you come out of it and you're like, oh, that was okay, and then you dissect it for like an hour and you're like, that was the worst hunk of shit ever.
Actually, I really like Prometheus. I'm not gonna lie, but let's
I
not.
haven't
But
seen
that.
it.
But
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah, that's an entirely different discussion.
Other good things about it. Magneto.
Magneto's continues
Okay.
to be a strong part of all
Alright,
of
let's
these
be real.
movies.
The best part of these movies are Michael Fassbender as Magneto and James McAvoy as Professor X.
Yes.
I think they kill it every single time they're in these films.
They both had really good moments, both really good emotional moments and really good like badass moments.
They definitely capture like the younger versions of how they've been portrayed like older. Like you can definitely see that like if you view these and then you view like the older versions, you can see that like okay, this is like where their friendship and like mutual like
respect
Yeah.
for each other
like
comes from.
they've been through some stuff.
I have to say too, like they're the only ones that seem to like be taking their jobs seriously.
Yeah.
Like they're the ones that they acted their asses off. Like Fassbender when he lost his family.
All that stuff in Poland with him, like you could cut that into like a short film and it would
Yeah.
be perfect.
Yeah.
Even though like it was such a good like that's why I was so mad about how they handled the ending of basically Magneto's like story arc until like Apocalypse comes along. Which by the way, I'm not gonna lie, when Apocalypse shows up and he just turns around and he's just like, who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
That was just
Just-
I was just oh
I
that's
couldn't
beautiful.
stop laughing because Apocalypse and his merry gang of village people are the stupidest looking things in the entire movie by a country
And it's just
mile.
like here's whatever the Olivia Munn's character,
Silent.
and then like fucking they teleport in. Now she's wearing this skimpy ass outfit. I'm like, where did they go?
I mean, I'm not complaining.
I know it's fan serve, but like, did like fucking Apocalypse just step to the side and be like, okay, everyone get changed? And like, there's even a scene where he's like building this new suit for Angel. I'm like, you still give her the
But I
fucking
mean, like,
skippiest
alright,
outfit.
She's got
He-
the
he
she's got the
made-
fan service suit.
He made Magneto's helmet for whatever reason as a gift.
And that's
God
also
knows
the
why.
same thing. I'm like, you're literally giving him the one thing that shuts all psychics out of him. You're giving up the control of Magneto.
Apocalypse, you're kind of an idiot. I know you're from ancient Egypt, and mud was
did
impressive back then. But
Wait. Let's keep on talking about the good. There's still
Yeah.
some other good parts about this film.
No, but like I said, the Magneto story arc was so beautiful, and that's
phenomenal.
why
Yes.
I hated how they just ended it. And it showed potential of like going somewhere, and then they just I just want to keep talking about the good, so I'll bring that
Go
up
ahead.
later. But I was just like, oh my god, why are you doing this? No, you do not know how to handle a story. There's so many better ways of just bringing this character out and like keeping this for another time, and just going off on another tangent. But no, they just fucking just did that, and no.
Something that I really liked. I'll bring this around. I'll make this positive because this is something that I have I liked it, but part. There's no but to this.
Yeah.
And it's especially good because I expected to hate this.
Mhm.
Fucking Wolverine.
He was good.
Great. I was actually fuck. You know what? There is a but. I thought this was great, but they shouldn't have spoiled it in the trailers because I would have lost my shit when he showed up.
Oh, I would have.
My
They
favorite
would've-
part about the part was when that guy in the back started yelling, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
For just context, so
People got hyped for the Jackman.
so they're in the
One guy.
the
Weapon
basic
X.
Weapon X facility, and they discover Wolverine, and it's not the Wolverine that we've seen. It's literally primal. Like
It's
he's
Wolverine with the big dumb thing on his head.
Yeah.
It's
It's
basically-
Weapon X.
Yeah.
It's not Wolverine.
It's less big
Weapon
and less
X.
dumb, but it's
Yeah,
still a
I
big
mean-
dumb thing on his head. I love it.
I could see why they didn't want the whole thing because they had
Yeah.
to show Hugh Jackman's face.
Everybody hates that design. I kind of love it because it's so stupid looking, where he's got the big metal.
Yeah, I
hat.
know what you're talking
I
about.
thought it was a Juggernaut for a second.
There was just so many ways that they could have gone, and they didn't. So that's the only part that I think I didn't like. But other than that, just seeing Wolverine just literally fuck shit
He
up
fucks
was
people up.
beautiful.
I feel like this is the most violent
Oh
Wolverine
yeah.
has been in any of these
Adding
movies,
on to that, did anyone else notice how brutal the kills were in this movie?
There was
yeah.
some people get fucked up.
Like there was that one dude in the beginning during the like ancient Egypt who was like that.
There was a couple. Let's see what one stood out. There was the dude getting
There was the dudes that got
Mangled.
disintegrated.
There was the dude who got like
mangled in the air.
Who the fuck was that?
He got
Who
folded
got
like a
Green
yoga mat.
Lantern from
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat versus DC? Just picked him up and squeezed him into a little ball and threw him in the corner.
There were
was
two people that got just
they got-
incinerated.
Yeah, those dudes got burned by ancient Egyptian fire, and then
There's the one
a couple
person
other
that
people got crushed really
Yeah, just-
obviously.
There was when Magneto killed people with a necklace going through their necks.
There was lots of, you know what I noticed was a theme with this movie? People standing in a group and facing the camera, and then in slow motion, something would like slice through their necks or behead them. That happened
and
like
then
3 times in this
the
movie.
3 people that Apocalypse killed just by taking sand and literally just
He beheads
fucking
the
their
fuck
head
out
off.
of he beheads the fuck out of these Egyptian
Or when he left that
street
dude in the
rats.
wall, like is he still there?
That was horrifying.
Moving.
Yeah. No, I mean like the entire movie later,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
still stuck in the wall.
Oh,
Guys,
that was the post credits scene. Was that guy stuck in the wall? So,
That was
that was
a lot of-
horrific. That was
the-
really good.
So
There's Apocalypse getting turned into a spooky skeleton.
There's the scene where Angel hurts his wing and then Apocalypse comes
That-
through him.
Yeah.
Comes
that
through
was like his vertebrae were coming out of his back. I was like,
So they
Jesus.
He
recruit
gives
him, but,
Psylocke like
like,
a
his-
hot purple bikini, and he gives Magneto a hat. He's like, Angel, I have a gift for you too. Ah!
It was like what, like a good 2 to 3 minutes of just Angel being in pure suffering as these new metal
And they're all
wings
just standing there
pop.
watching him like,
But like, I
oh.
would enjoy him after that. I'm like, fuck this shit. I'm out.
Thanks for the new wings, deuces.
Yeah, bitch.
And like I was thinking, I was like, you're giving him metal wings. Like I thought there was gonna be a good scene where Magneto like rips his wings or something, and I was like, nope.
What else?
Instead, he
parts.
got
What other
murdered.
good parts?
That one guy yelling with the gun, and he just get ripped into shreds.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What was that
Wolverine.
shot that you lost your shit over? It was like Apocalypse yelling. It was something happened, like an explosion happening behind Apocalypse, and Apocalypse was just like, oh!
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
And everybody lost their shit.
Actually, there was a lot of pretty funny moments. Like I remember when
There's a lot of unintentionally funny moments.
yeah, but there's some unintentional ones too. Like
Like that scene in Auschwitz. I will never say I was laughing so hard at the Auschwitz scene for any other movie. But when they went to Auschwitz, I lost my shit.
Nero's laughing because he has no idea what's going on. He just heard Auschwitz.
Wait, there was Auschwitz in this X-Men movie?
I didn't know we were reviewing Schindler's List.
It was just
Nero's like,
it was so badly handled because this was supposed to be this big, powerful moment of like Magneto being like, "You shouldn't have brought me here," and there's
That
this
part was
fucking.
fine. I'm talking about when they walked in,
Yeah.
and it's like the gray, like haunting area of Auschwitz with the goddamn village people in the middle. They did not know how to shoot those costumes and make them look decent.
There's Magneto like having a nervous breakdown. And you just pan the camera, and there's this fucking Apocalypse in his goofy ass costume with its three
laughed
other
the part-
people.
This is one thing. This is my big butt at the end of like I loved all the Magneto stuff, but then it's coming to a head. You know, his family's dead, and he killed those police guys, and he decides this is my lot in life. This is what I am apparently. This is what the world is telling me to be. And then we get a scene where he goes back to like the foundry where he works, and the whole reason all this bad stuff happened to him is because he saved the guy with his Magneto powers, and they ratted him out to the cops. So he goes there, and you could tell shit's gonna get fucked up. The tone is really strong.
Yeah,
he's giving a big speech to them. He's giving a really, really strong speech, and you could tell he's about to just wreck these dudes. They're surrounded by molten metal. Shit is gonna get brutal.
Though I do have to add. I don't know why he starts speaking English. Like, bro, you've been speaking.
Yeah,
It was like they're not even gonna understand you, bro.
But it's still a really good moment.
Yeah.
And you could tell shit's gonna get bad for these Polish guys.
Even
And then all of a sudden, like Glinda the Good Witch, the purple bubble appears, and out comes three of the most ridiculous looking motherfuckers I've ever seen in a superhero movie. And it's played totally straight until Magneto turns around. So it kills the moment before they have the joke of him going, "Who the fuck are you supposed to be?"
Even though
Because we see them and we're already laughing.
Even though that line is just amazing, but like going off from like even the guys knew that like it wasn't like we'll try to stop it. Like even the guys are like we are looking at death itself right here.
We're fucked. And then Michael Fassbender reads what is probably his only really genuinely bad line in the movie, where he goes, "If you've come to stop me from killing these men, you're not going to." And then Apocalypse just like whoop, just sinks them into the floor.
At first, from what it made it seem not to, he just made them vanish and not just like sink into the ground, which I'm like. Come on,
It's like we were gonna do something cool and dramatic, but then you have these silly creatures show up. These dumb-looking idiots. Freaking Poe Dameron in his big Frankenstein boots.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any other good about the movie you want to discuss?
Before we open the
point out?
floodgates of just hatred.
I've got something saved for the very beginning, but
Not good, not bad. Honest question.
Yeah.
Not having seen anything before it.
Auschwitz?
What do you make? What do you make of the Professor X and what is it, Mara?
Moira McTaggart.
That was stupid.
Yeah.
That
That's-
was such a
Who even
stupid.
was that? I didn't.
She was from the first film.
She was
I think she was shoehorned in.
government liaison.
Yeah.
I think she made sense.
She
enough.
kind of, but
their
it definitely.
their romance was something you had to do. The romantic angle of it felt shoehorned, but her presence in the plot did not.
I think that her presence on the final mission didn't make sense.
Oh yeah. Like they brought her along just because they didn't have time to dump her somewhere safe.
Yeah. I liked what's it called? I liked having Havoc in the beginning. I was like, oh, they were giving her a lot of screen time to Havoc. I was like,
back.
this is great. This is awesome.
Havoc's
And then,
back. Oh
yeah, and then he
no.
dies.
No.
I really like how Quicksilver, like, it's 10 years later and Quicksilver's just a shiftless dickhead living in his mom's basement. Like, I like that they call attention to that, because the whole time I was like, wait a minute, he was in like his teens, early 20s in the last one, and that was a decade ago. So are you honest to God telling me he's like in his late 20s, early 30s, and he's living in his mom's basement? And then they call attention to it, and it's fine.
Yeah. But I just wanted to see like more of Havoc and Cyclops' relationship. That would have been a lot better team fighting. And then they just kill him.
They kill him
And I'm
off
like, I don't
really
know if
flaccidly.
that's studio, if that's actor wise, because it seemed like
Contractual obligation.
he was in all 3 ones. He was
Yeah.
main focus in
first
First
one.
Class. He was kind of like teased at in Days of Future Past. So once we were getting a lot of like scenes with him in, I was like, okay, I like this because I liked Havoc as a character. He was such a cool character in the first one when you actually got to see him fight.
Yeah.
And to actually see that, like, you saw that he developed more of his powers. It wasn't just he could just shoot, like, the unibeam out of his
He could do
chest.
it with his
He
arms.
could do it
Yeah.
out of, like, his hands. And he seemed like he had such control. And I wanted them to have, like, a scene where it was Cyclops and Havoc was trying to teach him how to...
Brotherly bonding.
Brother, like, trying to teach him, because Cyclops can't control anything about his eye power. So I wanted to have that scene. And then it was just basically like, where's Havoc? Oh, I got everyone. Nope, he's fucking dead.
Like,
and I was like,
I'm not even mad that he died. I'm mad that he died like a chump before they could do anything.
Like,
fruitful.
I like-
he died because he blasted a thing and killed himself by accident.
I like the character moment who was like, you made a bad fucking mistake, man. Like, I was like, damn, go get him. And then he just
Like,
died.
you can't even say that Apocalypse killed him. He killed himself by
Yeah.
accident. If anything, it was negligent manslaughter instead of murder.
and then they teased the whole cool, like, fucking jet and then this explosion. And I'm like, oh, well, that jet's gone.
I wanted to see the basketball court split up. I wanted
Have the Blackbird come out. Something else I did like. I liked how when they're in the danger room at the very end.
Sentinels.
Sentinels. They repurposed the Sentinels for their training bots. I think that's cool, and it actually kind of ties into X3 of all things, because in the beginning of that they're fighting Sentinels in the danger room. But that was cool.
I don't know if you guys have anything other good things, but I have to say I still like absolutely love the way they visualize Cerebro. I still think it looks absolutely fantastic, like amazing. Just seeing the world and you see all these little silhouettes.
See, the one thing that, like, okay, Apocalypse comes in and fucking he's using Professor X to, like, do all this stuff. I'm like, at that moment, why couldn't he have just taken over Professor X? It seemed like he was pretty in control then.
Honestly, Apocalypse should have just won the movie, considering he could just disintegrate motherfuckers.
He had to, like, they had to make him really stupid, or else he would have won
Bad
very
choices.
easily. He had to choose really poor horsemen.
Should we open the floodgates of hatred?
Before we go into the floodgates, I will say also I think that Beast did a pretty good job of what he was given. I
like
thought
Beast
he
a
was
lot.
good.
Beast was good in this. Beast is one of my favorites.
I liked how there was still the hinting of how he still had kind of feelings for Mystique, and it was basically like, "Hey, Mystique, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing good. What are you here for, Eric?" And he was just like, "God fucking damn it! You're still going on about this, Eric."
Yeah, I also think that
Just because he survived the Holocaust, you think he's so great.
Quicksilver was good. Quicksilver's
awesome.
intro stole the show, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think Oscar Isaac, for what he was given, I think he did a good job.
He did a good job with what he had to work with.
I think we were shitting on him, but
my problems with this Apocalypse are not Oscar Isaac's fault.
Yeah, Oscar Isaac is a fantastic actor. He's proven that on multiple
occasions. It's definitely how the studio handled it. It's not the actor's fault in this whatsoever.
All right, so I'm gonna let Pavliv and Josh take this. What did you guys not like about the film?
Before we start ripping it.
Yeah, before we three start like just going in.
Yeah.
I mean, there was some pretty bad voice acting in there.
No,
what do you mean dialogue? Yeah.
No voice acting. It was like subpar. There was this one, some guy started yelling, and it was like the most monotone thing.
I know what you mean. Okay.
I'm like, oh, nice.
How about you, Pavliv? I'll give you a second to gather your thoughts if you want.
Where to start? Where to start?
A lot of places.
Oh, I want to hear Pavliv rant. I love your blog post enough.
Oh, it's not gonna go. It's not gonna go into a total rant again because I'm missing so much that I wouldn't feel qualified to rant.
Right.
That said, I mean, this just applies to a variety of. I mean, this just applies to a lot of the genre in general, where something, anything pops up out of nowhere, and it's just kind of like, I mean, I guess you can kind of call it holes in the plot line for action's sake, but
like conveniences.
Right.
Yeah. Like what specific examples were you thinking?
To me, I'd say, again, I'm just I'm missing so many names.
Yeah, it's okay. You could just say like teleport guy, claw guy, whatever, beast guy.
BDSM.
Yo,
Fuck
Josh.
I'm trying to fix this thing. It's like fucking.
He's dead.
Jesus. Oh my God. Be
killed him.
careful, bro.
I told Josh stop playing with the shotgun. He didn't listen.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Pav. Go on.
Going back to the whole, actually, just to make a better segue, going back to the whole expositions and explosions thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with a lot of what's been said, especially like especially the whole Auschwitz scene with
Magneto.
with Magneto,
and
just
everyone
kind of
else.
almost being anticlimactic,
Mm-hmm.
or Magneto at the factory when Apocalypse comes in,
Mm-hmm.
or where they go pick up Moira. It's Moira, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Where they pick up Moira and that basic. I mean, that side trip basically creates the entire disaster.
Did you, as someone who's not probably familiar with the other X-Men films and comics in general, what did you think of Apocalypse as a villain?
What I think of Apocalypse as a villain?
Yeah.
Mishandled, but he almost kind of had to be mishandled because otherwise we would have swiped the floor with him in
Yeah.
minutes.
Basically.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, like they could have made him super powerful. They just would have had to be smart about their writing. And like that's the thing with this. It's massive in scope. Like cities are destroyed in this, and like
All the nukes of the world literally get destroyed.
he launches all the nukes, and I was like, oh, is he just nuking everyone? But no, he was just taking the nukes off the
That's what I
planet. It's
thought,
like,
too.
well, what? You can't hit God. Good for you. They're not going to nuke you anymore. You could have redirected them towards civilization and made it play for power. You could have been really threatening, but he made a lot of stupid decisions. It was massive in scale, but very, very small in scope.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about rebuilding Earth, but yet you take one of the most powerful weapons off of it, and that could have helped to clean up a lot.
That would have made the movie right there.
Or the other piece of this, at the very end when this applies to almost any action movie in general, but at the very end when Magneto and company are basically reassembling the world,
Yeah.
I imagine like tens of millions of people had to have been killed in the.
Yeah.
Magneto killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
It didn't show it. They're fucking dead.
And then there's
And then
He pulled a bridge apart. He built like 5 bridges apart.
And then they're right back, CNN, 2 days later.
Yeah.
The cleanup is.
They show him at the end, and Charles is just like, I'll see you around, old friend. It's like, Charles, kill him. He's right there. Mind control him and make him kill himself. He murdered like at least an eighth of the world's population with
there's
his
the
bullshit.
scene where the Golden Gate Bridge
Because
is
he's
like
sad about his girl dying.
clearly destroyed, and people are like, I'm gonna walk in. I'm like, why the frick are
Magneto
people talking about it?
has a bad history with bridges. He has a
Yeah.
grudge.
So anyway, shall we start ripping?
All right, I'm
into it?
gonna
So-
let you two just go in.
Okay, so I have a question for everybody here. What looked worse? Wolverine's cartoon claws from X-Men Origins, or those shots of the landscapes at the end of this?
I'm gonna
Because
say the
honestly, I can't
landscapes.
decide.
I'm gonna say the landscapes because
Like the CGI in this, for the most part, was passable, but there were some parts of it where it was embarrassing.
like not like
You can
Like,
see the
how did you
CGI.
release that?
When Storm went ape shit, that one scene, you can see the CGI.
like
I just
some of this.
I kept envisioning so many of these actors with the CGI taken away, and so many times it's just someone standing there with their arms raised and their eyes open, going ah, like the kid playing Cyclops. Like I kept laughing when he was shooting Apocalypse because I knew that in real life there was no music, there was no sound effects, there was no punch lasers in the punch dimension. It was just him with his hand on his forehead going ah. Staring really hard at Oscar Isaac in blue makeup.
There were so many scenes where we were just staring at, and I was like, I taste the bad CGI in my mouth, and I'm like, and like beginning of this, the actor that played Storm, yeah, it was very inconsistent.
Like Nightcrawler's bamping around, that looked fantastic. That looked great. Cerebro looked awesome.
Oh, God,
all the
Cerebro
metal
was
and shit flying into the sky, you could tell it was CGI, but for something that large in scale, it looked fine.
But
then you get really simplistic shots, like group shots and landscapes, that just look
where nothing's
absolutely awful.
where's nothing moving. So I was like, there's no motion in it, and I was like, I could see that it's the
That whole
last
explosion sequence with Quicksilver going.
Yeah,
looks great.
I don't know. I was about to say there were certain shots in it where I was like,
That's
looks
something that
fake.
I
Yeah,
like.
I mean,
Yeah.
like there were some shots that would have been really hard.
Hell,
The,
yeah,
the
it was
last
CGI.
establishing shot of the school was just all CGI, and they had people
That
in
school
the
looked
front.
like shit at the
Yeah.
end.
In
Like,
the-
not even CGI, from like an architectural standpoint. There was like
Yeah.
parapets and towers coming out of it, were all over the fucking place. It made no sense.
In the front yard of this, there's just CGI people just playing it. I'm like, why'd you have to CGI these actors?
Money.
Just green screen, put the school in the back, and just have people in the front. It worked.
Or just go to a field in like Sussex or wherever they were and
Yes,
film
it just-
like 20 extras.
and I'm like, don't pay like more extra people to star in it. Just have like fucking Magneto and fucking Professor X just playing frisbee in the front. It's from a far enough distance where we wouldn't be able to
You
see
know,
that. It was just
remember,
them.
Eric, when you almost murdered everyone on Earth because you were pissed off? Remember when you literally almost became Hitler despite surviving the Holocaust, Eric? Old friend, off you go.
Remember?
I release you into the world, you
No.
unpredictable murderous lunatic.
So what they're saying about the CGI is right. I think the biggest problem is that for a lot of it, I'm not sure if they were rushed. I don't know if they didn't have enough time or if they just didn't care.
Yeah,
But the biggest thing was like there was no bump mapping. There was no texture. It was literally like just flat. Like I could make that in animation. I could do it. Granted, not that much, but I could make those textures.
And in the beginning, like the actor that played Storm talked about how many people worked on this film, and I'm like, I can't knock CGI and everything because I know it's a very difficult art.
It's very difficult.
But when we talk about movies with budgets like that some countries don't make, like these budgets go way beyond anything, and I'm like, you put off this like college level CGI shit, and I'm like, I'm gonna call on you so hard because it just seems like you don't care about that.
Like, and you know what I will give this to, something else that I like now that I think about it. The couple times where they used practical effects, I think it looked really good. Like during that whole Wolverine sequence,
Yeah.
I did not spot a bit of horrible CGI jam blood. It all looked super liquidy and red and appropriate, and it did not look stupid at all.
At the end, when like it's basically like Apocalypse and Magneto fighting in like the mind area, and like you just see like Professor X just spitting blood, and I'm like, okay, he got fucked up.
That whole mind
was
sequence,
eating-
I really
I
liked.
agree. That was
Just
cool.
when Professor X turns into a badass, his mind self can walk and has long flowing hair.
Yeah.
And he starts beating the shit out of him, just going, "You're in my house now!" Like,
Oh, fucking twat.
yeah, get him. I'm gonna fuck you up, cunt. Swear.
No, that was what.
Or
I'm
20 minutes
gonna
ago.
go. You think you have enough?
Before we move on to that, I just want to also add there was a lot of shots in this film where it's literally just people posing and then there's a green screen behind them. Like, do you remember when they kidnapped Professor Xavier and like they're just talking to him? Like, literally everyone was on like the rock, like doing like a position like the hero pose or whatever.
It's like the camera stopped rolling and they were like, "All right, now we're gonna take your shots for the character posters."
Yeah.
Like,
we're gonna do an album cover right here.
It
Like.
didn't look cheesy in a cool way. Now that I think about it, a lot of the shots remind me of like the 90s like Jim Lee X-Men comics, because there would be shots like that where it's a two-page spread and it's people standing around and everybody's like posing on rocks and shit.
And it's even better because everyone's just posing,
Like-
and then there's just fucking Professor X just laying on the ground, just like, I'm here.
I think one of my biggest problems with the way this movie looks is there's ways to shoot stuff that looks silly or absurd or ridiculous.
Right.
You know, like you look at, for example, not to reach the low-hanging fruit and compare it to the Marvel movies, but you look at the stuff they've got in the suits they have for the MCU. You know, you got Ant-Man, you got Spider-Man, you got Captain America. You got all these characters with, big clunky helmets and boots and bright colors and stuff, but they know how to shoot it and make it look good and make it look like it's all, it belongs and it makes sense. With this, they did not know how to shoot these costumes at all. Like, especially with Apocalypse, which is why I kept laughing whenever he showed up, and why I was in tears of laughter, not sadness, at the Auschwitz scene. Because it was the silliest thing. He's got these big Robert Downey Jr. platform boots on, and his hands, like, you could tell he has limited, like, arm movement because of his big shoulder pads, and, like, his head looked fine. I wish he had the blank white eyes, because he only gets those when he uses his powers, and it looks cool.
Yeah.
But, like his face looks fine. and the rest of him in close up looks fine. But if you see him all in once, he looks big and dumb and like ill proportioned. It feels like Apocalypse feels like something they should have maybe used CGI to do.
At least enhance some things.
Or you
Like-
can just like do the Captain America thing from First Avenger, get a big beefy dude, and then just CGI Oscar Isaac's face onto his body.
I think what we should discuss is the biggest problem with the film is that
pacing.
It's pacing. It was boring.
Its pacing
and the thing
was
is like
the sloppiest
we
I've
talked
seen
about
in so
yeah
long.
we talked about this when we got back here. It was just like I don't even remember what happened. Like
It was a blur.
There was so much stuff that happened. Like it just okay, we're going here, we're going here,
it didn't-
and I don't remember anything significant.
It jumped around so much that it didn't until everything comes together, and it only comes together like right before the climax. None of the scenes really last long enough to leave an impression on you. Like even when they had the one moment aside from the beginning, which was like every like 3 minutes, it would jump to a different batch of characters all around the world.
Like Lost.
Yeah.
Yes. But like the one part that really stood out to me was the part where they have Professor X kidnapped, and it's the part where they're all posing on the rocks, and Apocalypse is telling them like, yeah, you're gonna broadcast the message to everybody, and then at the same time, I want to say everybody that was when they were in the helicopter or when they were in the prison,
Yes.
and like. It has the establishing bit where Apocalypse is explaining his plan, like, yeah, you're going to broadcast my message to the whole world. And then it cuts to, like, the inside of the prison. And they're just, like, standing around talking, and they're like, man, we're in a prison, and they took Professor X. And then it cuts back to Apocalypse on the rock, and all I could think was, why did you have to cut back? We know they're captured. That's not important right now. Get your character's motivations out of the way now, so that it's not weird and disorienting to keep jumping back and forth.
And it was like he's broadcasting this message. Just keep on the prison shot, and then just have him broadcast this message. You don't need okay, this is what I'm gonna start my message now, and then go to the scene and have him you could have had that whole just jail cell scene, and then just have his message be broadcasting, and it'd be like, oh, he's fucking using Apocalypse to broadcast his message.
You know what? To go back to Apocalypse's design, you know what they should have done with it? He should have been in the cloak the whole movie. Because when he was walking around Egypt in the cloak, he looked really, really cool.
Yeah.
And he looked like a god prophet being. But then when he took the cloak off and he's got like big dumb tubes coming out of his head and like big oogie shoulders, like, I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't mind that, but maybe that's just
the
me.
problem is Oscar Isaac is not a big dude at all.
Yeah.
No.
And they tried instead of, just redesigning Apocalypse to not be a big dude or hiring a big dude and putting Oscar Isaac's face on it, or
hiring
or even
another
just
person.
doing motion capture.
yeah, or even just making him all CG and CGing him into a big dude. They just try and physically make him into a big dude, and it looks bad.
I think that for me, the biggest problem with this movie, and I hate, as you said, I hate to compare it to Marvel movies, but in this case, I can compare it to the other previous X-Men movies. I didn't really care about anyone. Like anything that was happening in the film, like in Days of Future Past, there was very real stakes, very real problems, and you were just like the social commentary was there. It felt very real, and you cared about the conflicts.
You felt a connection to these characters.
Yeah. There was character moments, and just like in Civil War, I hate to make this comparison, but like in Civil War, every character had a motivation, and you really attached to those things. And in this movie, outside of, like I said, outside of Beast, Magneto, and
Quicksilver?
no, Beast, Magneto, and Professor Xavier, those are the only ones where I felt like they had not only arcs and like good things to say, but I actually cared about them. Quicksilver was cool, and he had character trait that he didn't even go on.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Fell flat.
You look at the protagonists that they introduce in this one. It's like, what's Cyclops' issue? Well, he's an outcast in his normal high school when he learned to shoot beams from his eyes. And now he goes to Xavier's school, and he's not an outcast anymore, so he's pretty much fine. And it's like, what's Jean's problem? Well, she's an outcast in Xavier's school because kids are scared of her crazy mind powers. And it's like, I'm sorry you feel insecure, young lady, but Egypt was just blown up and turned into a metal pyramid. So the problems of these characters don't correlate to the stakes in this movie. If you looked at something like Days of Future Past, yes, the world was at stake, but because our character was... You look at, for example, Days of Future Past, what is Professor X's problem? What is Magneto's problem? What is Wolverine's problem? It's that the world is ending and they're stuck in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you care about what they're doing when they go back in time, because their problem correlates to the main problem in the movie. You know, you look at First Class, it's like, what's their problem? Well, people dislike and fear them, and also the Cuban Missile Crisis is happening. It's directly correlated. There's no correlation between teenagers feeling like outcasts with the big world-ending event, which is kind of the main point of X-Men.
As going along with that, X-Men has always been about the socio-political commentary of any group or minority group that feels that they're singled out or like rejected, whatever, which have you.
A world that hates and fears them.
Yeah. It's always been about that. That's always been its strongest allegory, strongest. I would even say the strongest point about the X-Men is that they are hated, and that's why so many people relate to them. And this film has none of the social commentary from the first two films. This is literally almost an Avengers film, except it's worse than Age of Ultron.
It's X-Men team up.
I liked Age of Ultron better.
I didn't really like Age of Ultron. I don't know how I would compare.
I liked Age of Ultron better because I liked the heroes better.
You know what? That's a fair remark, and I will agree with you on that.
What's up, Matt?
I felt like some of their characters just jumped around. Like when Cyclops came to the school, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm Cyclops."
Fuck this noise, man! I'm Cyclops.
Let's go to the mall.
It's gonna be funny because I'm gonna be a huge wiener with a big stick up my ass in the future.
And then they just show him, and they're showing Nightcrawler, and then all of a sudden, fucking Cyclops is like, "Yeah, let's blow this popsicle stand." I was like, "Where the fuck is this coming from?"
Does he have a car and then just take his car and go to the mall? And I was like, oh, are they gonna have hijinks at the mall? Like, are they gonna have a scene at the mall where people are like looking at Nightcrawler and like, oh, who's that freak? Who's that mutie? Yeah. It's like, no, they see a Star Wars movie and they leave the theater, and that's the entire.
And no one
scene.
Notices that there's someone blue with a fucking tail.
Like, even though it's like you're setting it up for the most obvious X-Men scenario out of any X-Men scenario you can make. And the only point of that entire scene was we need to get them out of the house, so they go, what happened when the mansion blows up?
And that's another thing. What was the point in casting Jubilee? She didn't do
I'm
anything.
so pissed about Jubilee, because I like Jubilee. Jubilee's cool. Her powers are bullshit, but she's cool.
And it wasn't like, oh, it was insinuated that she was Jubilee. She was wearing the fucking
jacket
from the
raincoat.
goddamn cartoon, and
Like,
she stuck out like a yellow fucking sore thumb with everyone.
Is that
and
because she's
like,
Asian?
no, oh my god, really?
You racist.
Her jacket was really fucking yellow. And I was like, are they gonna do with this literally technicolored person? No. Okay. Cool.
Like, I understand why Jubilee was not there during the climax.
Yeah.
Because what would Jubilee do against Apocalypse? Her power is shooting fireworks.
Actually, that brings up another point I want to bring up. Keep going.
But come on, you can't.
You could distract them.
They show up at the school. The bad guys show up at the school. You couldn't have like a little 2-minute action sequence where some of the students are like, oh shit, and Jubilee gets her shit smacked. Like, even if she got her shit smacked, I'd appreciate her at least
just
doing
have,
something.
some conflict with a.
Aside from going to the mall and explaining why Empire is the superior Star Wars movie. That's
Just-
all
Which she did a good explanation of.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yes.
But going off what you said, like when the school gets fucked up and they come to take away these characters to bring them to the Weapon X program or whatever, just had like a little fight scene where all these young impressionable students who don't know their powers fully try to fight all of this very intelligent organization.
Oh, it's like they can only afford to knock out all the X-Men.
Yeah, that was so much better. But they honestly walked up, pressed a button, everyone went down.
Yeah, what the fuck was that? Some sonic tranquilizer?
I don't.
It was the plot button. It was that we ran out of our effects budget and couldn't afford to have a group of 120 mutant children fight off this strike team.
Yeah.
And then not
So
everyone
we
needed
shoot this sound
colorful
wave
powers.
you'll
They could have one kind of strong
Oh,
person.
it's Fat Kid.
Yeah, the
His
Blob
power-
Junior.
Yeah.
In the beginning, the really fat dude.
That was the Blob.
I was a little annoyed
Was
we
it?
didn't get any of Blob aside from him being passed out on that.
Can we talk about the fucking credits and how stupid some of them were named? Defeated Blob, Pizza Dog.
Who was
that's not that
Oh wait,
relevant.
Mystery Man was the guy from Mr. Sinister's Corporation. Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, anyway. Nero, calm down. Nero, it's okay.
I just like how
Featuring Peter Stormare as the pizza dog.
Alright, so Pavlov and Josh, what did you guys think about the Four Horsemen?
I got something to say about that.
Alright,
Actually.
we all got things.
I know you like Psylocke. I know that.
BDSM chick.
Did you like feel like they were like developed well, or they were good villains, or did you
not
just
at all.
like not care? What'd you guys
I
think?
thought Angel
I mean-
was just a stupid piece of
Fucking
shit.
Angel.
Let Josh talk, yo. Let Josh
Oh,
talk.
right.
Yeah, Josh,
Shit,
go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead.
He's just a stupid piece of shit. He's like, all right, you just went through however many minutes of pain and you decided to join the bad guys. Fuck that. I'm out of there.
What'd you
also
think,
drunk.
Pat Blue?
Josh had it better than I could, but no real build up. I mean, it was basically it's kind of like Apocalypse was basically saying, "Welcome to the squad."
Okay, so let's lay this down. So basically, Apocalypse was just like, I want the strongest music ever,
Best
and
of
they
the best.
literally go to fucking Angel, whose only power is to have wings. And then like, sure, like at the first scenes of having, he's pretty cool because he's kicking like fucking ass.
I thought he was gonna be a good guy.
And like,
Fucking...
and then the next scene is because during the fight sequence he hurt his wings, so he can't fly. And the next scene is him like fucking drunk and washed up. I'm like, okay, I like where this is
I
going.
like that.
And he does nothing. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, there was such a missed opportunity to have like such a cool character, because in the comics he is kind of like a cooler character with like a cooler backstory. But literally they do nothing with that. And he dies. He's the only four horsemen that dies. And like Apocalypse is like useless. And I'm like, well, you got the kid's power.
He goes out like such a punk.
Yeah, he
Like he
no
does,
way he died.
He does nothing for the entire movie. He has no impressive or cool moments.
Except
and
for
then
the
Jean
beginning.
Grey murders him with an airplane.
No, I love the
They
part.
leave the flying guy in an airplane. The man with wings, Psylocke, survives.
Yes.
Asian swordswoman survives the plane crash, but the man with wings dies.
Not even wings.
That's irony.
Not even wings. Metal, like fucking shooting.
Metal. He's a skirmery. That's what he
No,
is.
I love the part where like he was trapped in the concrete. He couldn't just, get out. He had to spin
He
around.
does a little pirouette and he goes sha sha sha.
He has, to
flies
do,
out.
he has to do the like spin attack from Smash Brothers.
That was so useless.
Yeah.
He flies out. Like, you think he's out of the fight because Nightcrawler knocks him out with his tail. And then he comes back and he's like, sha sha sha, I'm free now. And then he immediately dies in a
No,
plane
like
crash.
think about it. This is the horseman of the apocalypse. This is supposed to be the best of the best, and he can't get out of concrete.
Apocalypse comes out. He's like, I want the most powerful mutants to be my heralds. We have Magneto, master of magnetism and metals. We have... who the fuck else was it? Storm, goddess of the elements and weather. And then we have Psylocke with her katana, and also the Birdman. Apocalypse, you
missed out on.
sweetie, you could do better. Charles Xavier is right there. You could.
If he didn't break out of that concrete cage, he would have been alright.
He should have just stayed there.
Angel should have just stayed knocked out. Also, what the fuck was with Psylocke, like, getting 2 shots of her wandering off, like, I'll be back.
Like they held on it, like she was like looking down, like I'll be back.
Like,
And I'm
she's
why
all
the
pissed
fuck you-
off. It's like, she's a... I don't read that much X-Men, but she's a good guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? She was like an assassin. Like, what...
She a vigilante?
I remember it was something stupid, like she was like Captain Britain's little sister, and then someone like she got kidnapped by some guy who had a
He's
fetish
awesome.
for Japanese women, and he put her brain in a Japanese assassin,
Yep.
and that's why she could use swords now. It's like, that's fucking stupid. But I thought she was a good guy, but in this, they don't even do the thing like Apocalypse was defeated, and she's like, oh man,
Like Storm.
I couldn't handle the power, it corrupted me, like that would have. I would have bought that, that would have been fine. But they make her like a straight up villain even after it's broken.
So
They redeem Magneto, but not Psylocke.
Like I felt like these people are supposed to be like under Apocalypse control, and it was
Yeah.
basically just like I'm just gonna
Psylocke and
try to-
Angel were the worst ones in this movie, aside from Apocalypse, in terms of like how much of a bad guy they were.
here's the thing. there's no. I almost want to say there's no subtlety to the movie. Like as soon
There's
as
not
as soon
at
as
all.
as soon as we got to the ending, and I was like, oh, what's Mystique's with them? So obviously Storm's gonna change sides because they show you her poster because in the movie Storm has a poster of Mystique because she looks up to her. They show you that poster at least 5 times.
Yeah.
Like look, this is
The
important.
camera
Keep looking.
hangs on that poster a lot.
Yeah.
Look, everyone thinks Mystique's a hero, but Mystique.
And I mean that's cool that there's redemption, and I like the whole Magneto like realizing that he's good and blah blah because that was something that was really played
That's
on in
fine,
the
that's
series.
character
That's
progression.
that's an arc. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. But everything was just so bad, and I remember thinking when they're going to the final showdown. At first, I was like, "Man, how are they gonna win this? They have no heavy hitters."
They have nobody.
Yeah.
Maybe if they had Wolverine.
Like
maybe.
because they have no heavy hitters, you realize someone's gonna convert sides. Like there's no tension in the final battle.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I think the one of the biggest problems is his horsemen. Like actually, I guess it's biting me in the ass because it did throw me for a loop. I didn't expect Psylocke and Angel to stay villains to the very end. Like I looked at it, all the promo art and material and pre-release materials and trailers and all that, and it's like, okay, he's got 4 horsemen, 4 henchmen. These are the sub villains. These are the mini bosses.
Right.
You got Magneto, you got Psylocke, you got Angel, and you have Storm. It's like, okay, Psylocke, Angel, and Storm we all know are good guys. So, obviously they're not gonna have Storm die or be a villain. She's one of the biggest, X-Men characters. Obviously, she's gonna switch sides. Magneto, he's a dick, but he's also
He can always change.
He's a greater good kind of dick. He'll he's not above teaming up with them if something's literally about to end the world. So okay, fine. And then those other 2 in the comics are, yeah, they did some bad shit, but more or less they're good guys. Why couldn't you just get like some sub-level X-Men villains and have them be the Horsemen?
Yeah,
Because it's not like they're using already established characters. I mean, they're using established characters, but it's not like, aside from Magneto, these are all these characters' premieres in this series so far. So why did you not just have it as like, get the League of Mutants, get fucking, like, they're lame, but get fucking Sabretooth, Blob, Toad, whomever.
Juggernaut, whatever.
Fucking Juggernaut would have been awesome. If he found Juggernaut and was like, let me unlock your potential, and makes him like twice as buff, that would have been sick.
Granted, Juggernaut technically is not a mutant, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, he's using magic potion,
Yeah,
helmet, and it's all fucked
whatever,
up. But,
whatever. Genocide Iraq, but
oh,
yeah.
puny weapons are useless.
That's part of
Imagine
another
that
thing
shit.
too that I noticed too when they're going to the final battle. There's no leadership because Professor Xavier is captured.
Yeah.
Beast doesn't really know
Beast
anything.
is the closest thing to a
Yeah.
leader. Not I thought Cyclops was going to step up to the bat at some point. It was
Yeah.
going to be like in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek. There's that moment where Kirk takes over the Enterprise, and it's like, okay, this is the moment when he becomes, the leader. You'd think that, or even in Avengers, there's the moment with Captain America where it's like, okay, this is where he becomes the leader. You'd think that they would have a moment where Cyclops steps up to the plate, but no, he's just sort of a shitty kid this entire movie.
And I
He
I
does some
understand
things,
that
but
he's
nothing
young,
really great.
but they could still show like inklings of him wanting to be the leader. And like you said, like Beast is the next one up because he is the next
He's the oldest member there.
he's the oldest
And,
member.
it's supposed to be Mystique, and then that
It
gets
felt
into the
like-
whole Jennifer Lawrence.
It felt like the
And,
movie
yeah.
couldn't decide whether it wanted to focus on the characters we've already established or
Or the
whether
new
it wanted
ones.
to build the 80s X-Men team.
Yeah.
Because
Which
they
they
should
didn't
have
even do
picked
that well.
They should have picked one and run with it. Either make it all about the characters we've already got with maybe like 2 new guys, or get rid of like Mystique, Beast. If you want to have them be like the advisors who aren't really involved in a whole lot, maybe they're incapacitated. Fine, but if you want to introduce a new X-Men team, you got to develop them. That's something that like The Force Awakens got really right.
Right.
You read about the original drafts of the script where Luke showed up in the first act with Rey, and they said this isn't working because everybody's paying attention to Luke Skywalker instead of the new characters. Same thing here. You're going to introduce new characters and have it be like a passing of the torch. You got to sell us on those new characters, and this movie does next to nothing with them.
See, this is where I get into like my whole fantasy thing. But I think that this is why I was so mad about the whole death of Havoc, because it would have been so good if he was in the final battle, right?
Yeah.
and he's doing his brother bonding, brother team up fight, with Cyclops, and then at the end, like maybe as a show of his power, that's when Apocalypse kills Havoc,
Yeah.
and then you see Cyclops step up to the plate now that he's experienced this loss.
You know what I just realized?
What?
Did Apocalypse fucking kill anyone in
I
this
don't
movie?
think so.
No.
I mean,
Like-
he
like,
killed innocents.
There
but-
were collateral damage killed those people. Not
Yeah.
Apocalypse killed fucking no one in this movie.
No.
You would think that with a villain like Apocalypse, where his whole deal is that he's he's a god being and he's going to mankind has lost its way. You think there would be that moment where I thought they were going to do that with Quicksilver.
Yeah.
You would think there would be that moment during the climax, or even at the second act, where as a show of power he kills someone off, and that's when shit gets real. But no, Havoc dies by accident, and everyone else is just collateral damage. He does nothing. He's very unintimidating.
Even the action in the film, honestly, I hate to say it just turned into a CGI fest. Like,
Yeah.
things are getting thrown, there's beams everywhere, like, you don't even know what's going
Like
on.
there was some cool moments. I liked when Beast caught that car.
Yeah, that was...
His whole fights, all of the Beast fights were cool because he had some cool physicality to it with like leaping around and stuff. They found a way to make Beast look cool. But the rest of it was just people shooting shit at other people who are also shooting shit back. There was
the
no
whole scene
combat.
with Quicksilver versus Apocalypse.
That was cool.
I was like,
That was
that was
great.
cool. But I was just like, you're supposed to be the most powerful being, and you're getting beat up, and then suddenly you're like, oh, I need to do something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow.
Like I totally expected. I almost wish that he did kill Quicksilver because I like Quicksilver, and that would have been a painful moment, but it would have been effective dramatically.
Because it would have also helped out. No, because he was wearing the helmet, so this couldn't have happened. So never mind.
And then as he's dying, he could have told Magneto, "Hey, I'm your son," and that's what caused Magneto to turn around instead of him making a big X-Men X out of girders, which I can't tell if that was utterly
intentional.
stupid or kind of cool.
I just felt like a lot like the Horsemen's just turned like
Just
unintentionally. And like I know
Angel died in a plane crash.
Yes.
And Psylocke got
just
knocked
left.
out. Storm had a good turn because she saw Apocalypse beating the shit out of Mystique.
Yeah.
And she realized like,
Even though you saw it coming
oh
from
wait,
a mile away.
it's the clash of my heroes. It's like, okay, at least that was set up. That was an arc. And you know what? That's a fine arc. It's well constructed. It might not be surprising or shocking or innovative, but it works. It's functional. It's well crafted. And then Magneto's. Why did Magneto come back? Was it just because?
Just because
Everybody was dying around him, and he finally.
It was basically everyone kept on saying like we believe in you, like they're still good in you, and then he kind of finally realized.
We bought cookies.
Let's just be honest. When fucking he was like Apocalypse was like, I tapped into more of them, and fucking Professor was like, no, you didn't. You just made him mad. And that was the best thing. So I was like, that's true. That's all you did.
See, one thing that I noticed about the film is that they really tried to make it like The Dark Knight Rises, where they tried to make this is the end of a trilogy. We're wrapping up all the loose ends. Like, considering how many flashback scenes there were, like, look, remember this, remember that, remember this. Like, we're tying this up. See, this is a complete arc. And just like, it just didn't do it that well.
And it still didn't tie up everything.
Like it feels like this is a movie that feels like it should have been a passing of the torch story, but it didn't. It just added more torches. new guys came with their own torches, and so now there's like 50 torches.
Yeah, I almost feel like Apocalypse was wasted in this film. They could have easily done something else, and I hate to say it, but they almost should have done what Marvel's doing with Thanos and Infinity War, where it's part 1, part 2. Because
like
Apocalypse is that
like,
big of a villain where you can do part 1.
Like
part 2.
I'm gonna be honest. I haven't read a whole lot of X-Men, and I have not read anything with Apocalypse in it. Like I know who he is and what his general deal is,
Right.
but I still had to do a little bit of research. And the thing is, like, from what I can tell, he's got a really awesome but insane backstory, like ancient Egyptian, the first mutant immortal god being.
Yeah.
Like, that's a dude you could build up over a couple movies.
Definitely.
That's a guy that should not be beaten in one confrontation.
Yeah.
Very easily.
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Like wrapping.
That's something where, like, literally, like, you should, like, yay, they won, they saved the day, but, like, a good third of the world is still, like, super duper fucked.
That's why they should have done what my idea was with the post-scene credit, but
Yeah, like wrapping it up here. Ultimately, I think that the biggest problems in the movie are the writing's I don't want to say god awful, but it's certainly not up to par.
There were parts that I liked.
Yeah.
But
There were scenes and ideas that I liked.
This was you know what this was? This is vanilla ice cream with chocolate chips in it. For the most part, it was kind of bland and middling and mediocre. But you had little bits of really good stuff.
I like some ice cream.
You had
Bro.
some parts that
Ice cream's fucking great.
you had
Go on.
you had some parts that were really really good. You know, like the Wolverine scene was a kind of shoehorn because of course we got to have Hugh Jackman. Yeah, sure, but it was still cool.
Right.
It was still cool, and it didn't
wasn't
feel super out
ultimately
of place.
shoehorned. It felt nice.
Yeah.
Like they took something that was probably an executive mandate and found a way to make it work as best they could.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that it wasn't like, you know, Wolverine shows up at the end like just because it wasn't Wolverine ex machina.
Right.
He happened to be there. They used him as a plot device, and then he was gone. It was Wolverine is the equivalent of Spider-Man in Civil War in this. He shows up, does cool shit, and then he's gone the second the story stops needing him, which is great. You know, just some of the little character interactions I thought were really fun. You know, but the parts of this movie that were important to the movie as a whole were just not great.
So the writing was pretty bad, and I hate to say it too, but as much as I love Bryan Singer and how much he's done for the franchise, you could almost feel the presence of losing Matthew Vaughn, because I know Matthew Vaughn did have a very large.
Vaughn did Days of
He
Future Past.
did First
right?
Class, and he had a lot of like the writing in Days of Future Past, from what I understand.
Yeah,
So you could definitely feel
this one did
his
have
absence.
Vaughn, right?
Yeah, no Matthew Vaughn.
That's noticeable.
Yeah. And on top of that, like, I don't know if Bryan Singer's like just not directing well or whatever. I think that he's a good director, but I'm not sure. And then
everybody can do bad shit.
and I do have to.
And this isn't even bad.
Yeah, it's not. This isn't a bad movie.
Not a bad.
It's just very.
I have seen
meh.
worse movies this year.
Yeah.
Like.
I hate to compare it, but I thought Batman v Superman was worse than this.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yes.
But here's the thing. I think that this also, I don't want to say it reeks of studio meddling, but you could definitely see that there was little sprinklings like we should put Jennifer Lawrence in more, we should highlight her.
Hunger Games just finished up. She's
It was
gonna be
literally
in a
like
lot
the
of
same
newspapers.
story too, because in Hunger Games she became a symbol too, and it was just like, oh my god, guys, really. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing that you have to that we got from this is that Fox does not seem to know what they're doing right now. They screwed up.
With Deadpool.
But the thing is, that wasn't even them though. Like that was them saying, okay, we'll give it to the fanboys, just let them have it. That was the creative team. That was Ryan Reynolds, the director, the writers. That was that team. I don't think Fox had anything good
Fox
to do with
had
that.
barely anything to do with that. They
Fox was
raised
scared
the money,
to release that.
They put it together, and they were Fox was basically just saying the whole time, "You better fucking know what you're doing."
They're basically saying like, just at least break even, just please, like we'll give it to the
surprise,
fanboys.
highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
Yeah, they were like, if it, like it's okay if you don't make anything else, because we weren't even planning on making a sequel. Don't worry about it. So
take that, Passion of the Christ.
So here's what we have to. Here's the thing. Fantastic Four, from what I understand, sucked. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Gambit was canceled already.
Yeah, what was the deal with that?
I don't know. Gambit
I remember Channing Tatum was pulling the whole like I dropped out because unless they give me some more money, oh they gave me more money, I'm back in.
Yeah.
Like he pulled that whole Gambit, and it worked. That was not even intentional, and then they just canceled it.
Yeah,
which kind of sucks. I'd be fine with a Gambit movie. Gambit's cool.
Right, I agree. And then they have this film, which is almost, I hate to say it, feels like an Age of Ultron type thing, where it's just like we expected a lot from this movie, and it didn't live up to the expectations. So
I could have waited a couple extra years. It would have made the time jump more convincing. It would have given them more time to come up with a long-term plan. Because that's the thing. Again, I hate having to do this whenever we talk about superhero movies. But to compare it to Marvel, Marvel knows what they're doing. And I don't even necessarily mean in a technical sense. I personally think they do. But I mean in terms of story and scope and vision. They got their shit planned out. Their major story beats for the next, decade. They're set. They know what they're doing with their movies. But with DC and with Fox, you get the impression that they want what Marvel's got, but they're not willing to take the time necessary to make that long-term plan. You know, DC's trying to get Justice League right out of the gate. Fox is trying to build this new X-Men series, and those efforts seem kind of aimless.
All right, man.
in comparison.
Because I bet all the studios looking at Marvel like in now, and they're like, okay,
Yeah.
we got to do that, and they're
Because
not
they want
looking,
money.
Yeah,
and they're
do
not
that.
looking at what Marvel was doing in like 2008,
They
setting
can't
up
see the
universe.
forest through the trees. You
Yeah.
know, they what's successful about this? Well, it's a big superhero team up movie. Do a big superhero team up movie. It's like no.
Basically,
There's more behind that is motivating not only its quality but its success.
and their
And that's what
story.
you need to
There's
pay
much more
attention
on the
to.
surface of what makes Marvel successful than just a cinematic.
And you know what I find really interesting about this is you have Warner Brothers with their DC stuff. The mainline stuff is not looking so hot. You know, not people are kind of wary of Justice League now. However, their side projects that are skewing a little bit darker and a little bit weirder. You know, Suicide Squad, and they've got all that stuff. I don't know if Guillermo del Toro is still doing Justice League Dark, or if
I
that's
think he
that
dropped
would
out.
be
You
the
know,
greatest thing ever.
the Booster Gold Blue Beetle movie, all
Yeah.
this stuff that they've supposedly got in the pipelines. That's got positive groundswell compared to the more mainstream stuff, and it's the same thing with Fox. You know, mainstream stuff being Fantastic Four, shit on, bombed. X-Men makes money, but is getting rockier with this one. Meanwhile, people are super loved Deadpool, super hyped for Deadpool 2, super hyped for X-Force. You know, like I find that really intriguing. How the more understated, obscure, weird, riskier movies are the ones that are doing really well and that people are really looking forward to, compared to the more mainline event movies.
All right, boys, we're gonna go around closing comments and your ratings. Josh, closing comments and rating on X-Men Apocalypse.
It was alright.
What would you give it out of 10?
Like a 6.
Okay. How about you, Pavel? Closing comments. What's your score?
Closing comments. Solid, but meh. A 6. I'd say probably about a 6 for non-comic book people. Maybe a 4.5 to 5 for you guys. But
5 being the average, by the way.
okay.
Yeah. What do you think, Mark?
With 5 being totally average, I'd give it like a 5. Totally average. Giving it more than a 5 feels too generous, and giving it less than a 5 feels too mean.
Yeah, it's too mean-spirited. I'd go with the man. I'd give it an Auschwitz out of 10.
Auschwitz with big fruity.
Any closing
costumes out of
comments
10.
on it? Or?
I felt like they had a lot of good ideas that they just didn't handle that well, and I was really just disappointed.
I'd have to agree. Going along with what we've all discussed here, the thing that characterizes this film the best is that it was just meh. Could have been a lot better. I think it would have benefited, as Mark said, greatly from more time in development, better time to refine the script, better time to get those special effects in. Goddamn. And just better time to understand what these characters and what are you trying to say? Why should this story be told besides to see these big explosions?
Yeah. Why should we care?
Yeah, I think that's ultimately what Fox needs to ask themselves when they're developing the next film, and in addition to making, if they're going forward with the Fantastic Four sequel. Overall, I give this movie a 5.5 out of 10, maybe a 5 out of 10, something like that. It's very average, guys. I give it a rental. You don't need to see this in the theater. Like, it's really not. Unless you're this X-Men super fan, you're gonna get disappointed.
I feel like this is gonna be the next like turn on FX, and this movie is gonna be on in like 2 or 3 years.
I'd have to agree. So yeah.
Wait, you'd recommend it in theaters for an X-Men superfan?
No.
I'd say it's probably the opposite.
Like unless you just have to see this movie, then I guess you should go see it. But I really
a few characters with great assets.
I kicked Josh.
Yeah, it was
If you're really invested and you really want to go see it, and for some reason you weren't there opening night, despite being this into it, by all means go check it out.
Don't play full price. Don't get popcorn.
There's probably worse things in theaters right now that you could go see, but if you have to see it, grab a matinee.
Honestly, if I was you, I'd go watch Jungle Book or Civil War.
Yeah, go see Jungle Book or Civil War again.
Yeah. All right, Josh, for the people who want to follow you, how can they follow you, man?
I don't know.
Instagram, Twitter, anything?
I need to get my Twitter on shit, so
I don't have
say
Twitter
anything right now.
Instagram, I don't post anything, so there's really no point.
Okay, all right. How about you, Pavel? You got anything for the people if they want to follow you? You should make a blog. Damn it, make a blog, Pavlov.
The blog.
I will legitimately think about that. However, it's gonna have absolutely nothing to do with any of this, so I don't understand why any of you would
That's
want
okay.
to
Here's my
That's
hardline-
fine. That's
here's my
fine.
hardline
No, that's
stance on
totally fine,
Magneto's
man.
effect on
That's totally
Bernie's
fine.
campaign.
It's about showcasing what you're all about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, thanks guys for putting me on here, but to all of you fans out there across the universe, I'm glad I got a. Hopefully, I get a second chance to make a first impression.
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's good.
the next movie that we do probably won't be like a comic book film because the thing
Something with this much.
this is something that we really like
Oh
talking
wait,
about.
is the next one
Yeah.
gonna be Ninja Turtles?
It might
Oh,
be.
my-
I don't know.
I'm excited for that.
Please let it be Ninja Turtles.
All right,
I'm ready to
let's
go.
wrap it up, guys.
We'll wrap it up.
Yeah. So
We'll wrap
Mark,
it
how
up.
can the people follow you as always?
Right, you can follow me on Twitter at @TheRealKrapinsk. I never post, but hey, maybe something will come about, and then you'll be entertained. If you want to read my blog, it's at whiteguywithnetflix.blogspot.com, and you can also like the Facebook page, which is Cinemark Movie Reviews. Updates every Thursday. I try to do, and sometimes more, depending on what's out.
Check out his most recent review of The Jungle Book in addition to our podcast on it last week. How about you, Matt? How can
My
people
stuff's
follow you?
Under construction. If I'm gonna really promote myself, I gotta fix my shit up.
All right, and as always, you can follow me on Twitter at Adam_bomb with 2 M's. You can follow me on YouTube. Just look up my name. I got some short films and my esports interviews are there. And other than that, I don't really post on Instagram really, so you don't really need to follow me there. But follow me on that. You're more than welcome to leave a comment. Tell us what you guys think. We're gonna be doing more of these. I believe Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is next, but I'm not quite sure. I'd have to double check.
We will make it
I'm
next.
fucking ready for that.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, until next time, we'll catch you later. Thank you so much for listening. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.
See you later, all you little kids out there. Okay. Fucking. How do you think they're gonna handle the